Pardon an interruption, this is Troy Hill with the Star Chronicles. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So if you're interested in making your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello, I'm Troy Hill with the Star Chronicles Cowboys Talk podcast, sponsored by Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place, free, which you can use right from your phone or computer with creation tools that allow you to record and edit to get your show sounding glorious. They'll even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So what you need to do is download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Did I mention it was free?
The Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
Just Us Radio presents the Star Chronicles.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!
And goal. Elliott into the end zone.
The Star Chronicles Cowboys Football Talk Podcast, Episode 3. I'm your host, Troy Hill, and it would not be a show without my two favorite Cowboy fans, the Starstruck fan and Lisa. How are you two doing this evening?
Doing good, Troy.
Doing well.
On my face after the Cowboys' victory, even though it was a preseason game, the Cowboys victorious over the Los Angeles Rams, 14-10. What is your thoughts on that, Lisa?
Pleasantly surprised with the offense. I was a little bit worried about Dak because the two, Tyron and Zach were going to be out, but I felt like he played well. I feel like he was pretty methodical, and, to go back to last week about him, Dak playing better when he's kind of up against it. After the big sack, he just dug him right out and drove down the field. I thought it was good. I was pleased.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key things you want from your quarterback, to have a little bit of adversity and bounce back, keep everything back on track, and and score a touchdown, something we've been waiting for. What's your thoughts, Starstruck fan?
Well, how our fan base goes, Troy. They were barbecuing him again as usual. Old Dak there, saying that the long throw, I guess, was a 31-yarder down to Gallup. They're saying the ball again was a little bit underthrown. Now, from my perspective, I didn't see that. I saw that it looks like he threw a touch pass because you can tell the way that he threw it. And I don't know if he threw it that way because he was trying to avoid the safety that was on one side and the cornerback that was on the other, and putting it in a spot where only Gallup can make a play on the ball. But to me, it looked like it was good placed ball. No, he didn't throw it deep out in front of him, but I don't know if that was the intention of the play.
Yeah, I kind of share the same opinion that you have, and just going back to past players and and quarterback receiver, combinations. I mean, I've seen several passes like that from Troy Aikman to Michael Irvin, several passes like that from Tony Romo to Des Bryant. So I don't really see the issue with the pass. I kind of see a lot more than what you see. And I just think we're at the point right now where you start talking about money, because people do think about money when you start talking about these players that, well, he should be, throwing these, everything, hitting everything right on point. I mean, you think that has something to do with it? If he is demanding this $40 million a year, which has been already disputed, but anything above like $33 million, you think that has something to do with it? You think the fan base kind of wants perfection?
No, we already know what the answer is to this. We already know.
I know. I just want you to answer it.
It's been too long. More than 20 years of winning a Super Bowl. only winning one playoff game. This is what you get out of the fan base. When the fan base sees anything that remotely looks like we're not going to win more than one playoff game, or we don't look like we're producing or putting anything on the field that looks like we're going to win a Super Bowl, this is what you're going to get. We've got to win. Winning is the antidote. It is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to that. What was your thoughts on that, Lisa? Is it all just about winning? Is it all about
Yeah,
is it all about looking crisp and great and everything?
I do. I feel like it is partly that. I do feel like the money plays a role in it in the conversations right now. But it's the same group of people that when Dak that first year, was he 9-1 or 10-1 before Tony acquiesced his position on the team? Like, it's the same group of people that were saying you can't bring Tony back at this point because, and I guess that proves the point, because he was winning and it did look like he was poised to lead them to a Super Bowl, so maybe that is it. Maybe now that I'm talking it out, it is exactly what the problem is,
I don't know.
Maybe I just had an epiphany right live on the air.
Well, see there, that's what we do here at the Star Chronicles.
It's
But
like group therapy.
it was good to see Moose in the booth, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, and it looks like he's coming back to life or form or whatever. I know he did a little stint with the AAF, which was being a little bit successful with that, but I heard he's got a little role with the XFL now.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, so go Moose. I mean, that's one advantage I like to have, especially during preseason, having the local broadcast.
Yes.
I understand, Lisa, you were watching it on, ESPN?
Oh, no, it was on the NFL Network. And, I do watch a lot of sports, and I'm a big football I love football. But and I don't know who she is, and I don't like to criticize other women. But if she can get a job on the air, I for sure can. And I was so thankful to y'all that I was like, why are y'all not going, this is the worst broadcast of all time. And then finally, when y'all told me that it was on local, I was like, oh, let me get back over there. Because I stream, like I don't have regular cable now.
Yeah,
so
same here.
And so I wasn't even thinking about it being on the local CBS channel. So then I switched over there, and it was just like, oh, Moose, how are you doing? Thank you for saving me from that horrible NFL Network broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm looking forward to next week too, as I believe that Michael Irvin. I mean, typically the last year he does the dress rehearsal preseason game. So I mean, that's definitely always some good stuff there. Just quickly. If if you have any thoughts and opinions on the show, don't hesitate to send us an email at thestarchronicles@mail.com. Again, that's thestarchronicles@mail.com. But what do you guys think about the defense?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, one that really jumped off the page for me early on was, I don't think he's a rookie. I think this is his second year, was Dorrance Armstrong.
Yeah.
He was kind of in the middle of the mix the whole time. I mean, every play that I saw, I kept thinking, who is that? Who is that? Because there's so many out, on the defensive line. I kept thinking, and he just kept showing up and kept showing up and kept showing up. And if he can keep up that type of, productivity, that's a great draft pick then, because you can never, I don't feel, in my opinion, you can never be too deep with edge rushers. And I think he's kind of versatile, that he can play inside, or outside. But he was one that really jumped off the page to me. And even Taco, bless his heart, like he had some moments.
Yeah, a couple bat balls. Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes back to, like we talked about last week. If he's a third or a fourth round pick, I'm as happy as can be with his productivity. But, to relive who was available when we picked him, it makes me want to rip my eyelids off. But
want why? But it just wasn't to be. I mean, it's not a knock on Taco, but like you said, with the draft number way he was picked, I just still think he's just a day late and $1 short, just like on every single play.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he got a batted ball. Like I told Starstruck, I'm just like, and yeah, I still have the same opinion of him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it seems to be like, I mean, like if you notice, Jalen seems to really like him, and I think Jalen's just a really, he's probably becoming my favorite, and I think he just, he really wants him to succeed because I don't know, but it's just it is super frustrating. What did y'all think about the defense?
Now, yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Troy.
No, I thought the defense overall played pretty good. I didn't see anything that was a glaring concern. It seemed like people were getting quick to the ball as usual. It seemed like they were playing aggressive. I don't know what's going on with the secondary, but they're definitely all more aggressive than what they have in the past. Yeah. I don't know if this is because they got a little more time under their belt, or I don't know if this, Rashard is he's starting to get into him and stuff, and they're starting to believe more into what he brings to the football team, coaching. So I definitely see like a much more improved secondary, and I still have the same opinion I had last week. Even still, we're getting ready to go into the third preseason game. I don't think there's any type of rush on doing anything, as far as like free agency goes, trying to pick anybody up to fill any type of gap. Even though I'm not a fan of Heath, I've never been a fan of Heath. I know some listeners still think he's a beast. I know there's an edit somewhere out there, So, but he just does one good thing, and there's no consistency. He does one thing, and you don't hear from him for another 15, 16 plays. That's not a beast. The beast is like in every play. So,
also Justin Phillips stuck out to me as well. Number 44, I believe he is a linebacker. He came in, I want to say he came in for Covington when Covington got hurt. He plugged in very well. I think he's gonna fit in very well wherever we can plug him, whether it's special teams or wherever he rotates in. And also Kerry Hyder again for the second week in a row. I think he is also looking pretty good. Of course, he had the big hit last week on the 49ers quarterback. And then this week, his placement on the field where he was and just his activity out there. I really like what I'm seeing from him. He's a DE guy, defensive end, but I've seen him also. They've dropped him back off the line at times, which, man, if he can have that kind of versatility for us, that'd be spectacular. I'm almost like a 3-4 type guy.
Yes, I'm impressed overall. Did we notice any improvements with Tristan Hill?
Yes, he blew up a play. Oh,
yeah.
Man, sorry that I overlooked him. Yes, he blew up a play. Yes.
It's probably because he heard the podcast and heard me criticizing him last week.
That would be my guess. That would certainly be my guess. Highly, highly possible. Do we want to?
He just needs time. Tristan just needs time. That's all it is. He'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Do we want to dive into the talk of well, not even the talk. We'll just talk about overall just Tony Pollard's performance in this preseason game, and then we'll kind of delve off into the additional stuff about him after a break. Did you guys enjoy it, or what did you guys think?
Yeah, I was way more than cautiously optimistic because twofold. One, okay, if the worst case scenario happens and Zeke is not back by week 1, I feel like we're serviceable until he does get back. Number 2, if he does come back, that is a tandem backfield that is going to be a little bit that's going to be tough to deal with. It kind of reminds me, only Zeke is better than either one of the feature backs from New Orleans last year. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like that, two-headed monster that it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for defenses to plan for that. Yeah. And it makes me happy.
Do you think Mr. Moore will try and work something in to get both of them on the field at the same time?
No doubt.
And a play. I mean, I think that's going to just be just straight up nasty if things keep on progressing the way they are. You know, I mean, I think he's great. I mean, you shared with me a picture earlier of someone claiming that he was a goat. That's again.
It's a little premature to say he's a goat, I think, but
yeah, just a little.
He's a baby goat. Yeah. He's a baby goat in PJs.
Bye.
He's one of those pajama-wearing jumping goats.
Yeah, I just
He's
don't.
A kid.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Did
a note on that? I just have to say one quick thing about the Rams, specifically Aaron Donald. Did you see him before the game?
I missed it.
Talking to Tavon.
Oh,
and granted, I get it. Tavon is tiny.
Yes.
Aaron Donald is a grown man amongst boys. I mean, he's probably in the best shape. And I was like, he's not even in pads. Like,
it's like our Tyron Smith. Yeah, we got a tank like that on our side.
That matchup is one I will be. We play them in the regular season. I think it's December maybe it's right after the Thanksgiving day. I don't know. We go the Thanksgiving game, and then we have the Bears and Rams back to back. So that'll be a special beginning of December. But yeah, as much as I don't care about other teams, and Aaron Donald is one that I will always watch. And I didn't realize that I don't know if the Rams jumped ahead of us or they drafted him right before we took Zach Martin, I think. Because I didn't realize it was that close. And first of all, I didn't know Aaron Donald was that good either. So that's probably why he wasn't even on my radar. But
yeah, I
didn't realize he was close to he could have come here if, I think the Rams were either right before us or two before us. And then anyway, so sorry for that side note, but that's just.
No, he's a big guy. Like I said, we got our big guy too, Mr. Tyron Smith. And for a historical fact to the listeners, I mean, that's what caused the Titanic sinking. Just went on and crashed into Tyron Smith. Big iceberg out there. That's what I hear. I mean, I can't back it up. But, with fake news and everything, whatever. It will be on a meme tomorrow and it'll be true.
Because all things on the interwebs are true.
Yes, of course they are. Of course they are. But let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsor. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about some Zeke and Jerry talk here only on the Star Chronicles. We're back with the Star Chronicles. Again, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening into our podcast. Myself, Troy Hill, the Starstruck Fan, and Lisa. And you can find us on social media. You go ahead and check out the Starstruck Fan at _Starstruck_fan on Instagram. You can also follow us and ask us questions at _Star Chronicles on Instagram as well. So, and if you do have questions, you go ahead and send us an email at thestarchronicles@mail.com. But a lot of things going on with this whole Zeke and Jerry thing, huh? Is it starting to get irritating you guys yet, or you're still just living with it?
I'm past irritated at this point.
Yes. Somebody just muzzle him, please.
Do you think what Jerry said was that big of a deal? I mean, it was a joke.
I knew it was a joke. I took it as a joke, but I knew that the timing was just off. I just knew that where we are right now with the Zeke's whole situation, I just knew it was going to come off wrong. You just can't do that when you're in the middle of negotiations. You just can't.
Well, but at the same time, Rocky Arsenault is not making it any better. For the fact that he had it when it came out on Twitter today that he did a press release about their feelings being hurt. It's out of hand. Now it's out of hand. Like, especially like, I mean, you know how Jerry is. Mm-hmm. Is it horrible timing? Sure. But is that why this franchise is worth $5 billion? Absolutely.
And Jerry has said far worse in front of the media. I mean, I can perfectly recall like about 10 years when he was saying, "I'm out there for the glory hole." You guys remember that?
Well, yeah, but that wasn't really. But the difference I think with that is it wasn't directed at, and you didn't have major contract negotiations going on, and it's a horrible optic, no doubt about it. But
the way I look at it is, I agree that he probably shouldn't have said it. It's not the most perfect set of timing to go by, but we are still talking about a guy that got suspended 6 games for some stuff. I mean, even though there's no proof that he did anything wrong to begin with. However, he's had some troubles. I mean, this is the same guy that just hopped out of the Salvation Army bucket. He can take a joke. He knows Jerry was joking. I mean, just think about it.
Well, and there wasn't an actual quote from Zeke. It was all per Rocky Arsenault. Yeah. So for those that don't, that's his agent.
Exactly.
For those who don't know.
So maybe he needs to get him a different agent instead of having the agent for Tommy Gunn and Rocky 5, and maybe get somebody legitimate.
Well, Rocky Arsenault is one of the best in the game. Like, I can't take that away from him. And I get it where he's coming from. He's playing for the sympathies of the fan base. And I mean, it's all a big, there's a phrase I want to use right now. It's wholly inappropriate. So it's just a big contest right now. It's Jerry wants to pander to the fans about Tony Pollard, and Rocky wants to pander to the fans about poor Zeke for not getting paid.
Yeah, Jerry just trying to get some Pollard jerseys sold and stuff before Zeke come back. He just trying to get his kickback. That's all that really is. I think just everything's being blown out of proportion. All of a sudden, people are starting to post, "Oh, he might be going back to Cabo." Well, go back to Cabo. You're not playing here right now.
I was just about to ask if we confirmed that, because there is a lot of talk out there saying that he's already been on a plane and he's already took off and headed back that way. I haven't been able to confirm that.
Yeah, I haven't been able to confirm that neither, but you know how that goes. I mean,
so what if he is? I mean, I think people blew it out of proportion when they saw him on a plane coming back to Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody automatically thought he was coming back to sign. And, I mean, even, we joked about it the other night when Tony Pollard scored, but it's going to take more than – I do think it'll probably get done. My gut tells me it's going to get done this week. But maybe not. Maybe they are going to try to hold it till week 1.
So if this is that big of a deal, how much more money do you think this is going to cost Jerry with his comment, about the – Zeke who?
It's not going to cost him anymore.
You don't think he's going to try and line the pocket a little bit more, or do
Absolutely
you think?
Not.
I think it's already out there. Yeah,
or do
the
you
numbers
think,
out there.
Yeah, the number's set, and Jerry's not going to lose that argument. Not with 2 years to go on a deal.
Yeah, it just makes me just wonder sometimes. Is there just some? If he signs this contract, if all of a sudden are we going to get like another TMZ story just pop up out of nowhere? I mean, like he's like
probably.
trying to rush, like he's trying to rush this thing to happen so
It's
dang
highly
fast. He's just trying to rush it so he knows he got his money before this story comes out or whatever the case may be.
Well, and if you don't think that may be and maybe right now that's one of the bargaining chips that's being discussed, is there's probably a pretty solid, for all of Jerry's flaws, he is an amazing business person. So if you don't think there's some kind of, and I don't know what all you can write into a contract, that won't violate the CBA or whatever, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a clause in his deal about off the field shenanigans.
Yeah.
I mean,
it'll be like, you will not get paid for any time foolery in my football stadium. It could be something like that. It could be something like that.
Well, but I mean, on a serious note, like, that's the risk. That's the risk of, Zeke is playing a position that typically gets run into the ground, and, he's wanting to get paid. But part of the problem with him, and it's like we talked about before, is the income he has is only from, his actual salary, because, whether there was any truth to it or not, the minute that had that domestic violence stamp on it, his endorsement deals, there was none.
Exactly. And that's probably a large part of it also. But you know what? As being a Cowboy fan, I would certainly rather be dealing with this situation than dealing with the Raiders situation with
my
I mean,
goodness.
we don't mention other players, on the team and other players that often on the show, but I am so glad we're not dealing with that situation because that guy's nuts.
But we can bring him up because of the simple fact that we chose Amari Cooper instead. With
True.
the first round pick. We gave up a first round pick versus everyone was kind of laughing at us when Antonio AB got picked up with a third and fifth. Everybody's like, and you dished out a first for Amari Cooper, who's not as good of a player, but you got to look at the character and the circus that you now have going on in Oakland. I mean, yeah, they got a better deal, third and fifth, but it doesn't matter if the guy's not on the field. He's threatening to retire over a helmet. This is some Dennis Rodman. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I can say that on the air and not cause any type of issue to anybody out there. Sorry, Dennis.
Well, what's funny to me is I saw some Raiders fans posted today saying, if he doesn't play, we're going to be 8-8. I'm like, no, if he does play, you're going to be 8-8. If he don't play, you're going to be like 4-12. So
I was gonna say you're staring down the barrel of 8-8 just because of your quarterback.
But that's one of those quarterbacks you might want to argue might need different surroundings.
Fair.
Seriously, I mean, I really do feel that way. Oh, one quick point to dive back kind of into the preseason performance because we did touch on the kicker. Can we please get another kicker now? Matt Bryant and I think.
Oh, he's still here?
I think he's still available. I mean, there's two. I mean, there's kickers that you could probably get that at least has some skins on.
No, man, is Mayer still here? You mean he still has a job?
Yeah.
Monday? Is he still? Wow.
No, he's still here kicking away. He got his foot soaking in Epsom salt right now, getting ready for practice tomorrow. I mean, he's ready to go.
I'm pretty sure I said a bad word when that kick. I mean, it was windy. I understand all that, but it wasn't that windy. And those are the elements you have to deal with. That's your job, sir.
No, yeah, that's the only thing you got to do on this team. Kick. I mean, I just.
It's the full on yips at this point. It's not even. That's mental.
Mm-hmm. I mean, 75% kicker in this league will not get you very, very far.
But it was, in his defense, it was windy. And I have lived in Hawaii. I'm very familiar with the trade winds that they do have there in the Aloha State. But at that same thing as well, when you've already missed like you have missed, if the team is willing to put you out there in a situation like that, it's because it's come down to that, basically like, hey, we want to see what this guy still has. And unfortunately, it's windy right now, but we need to see what you got. Because it came to, had he been looking better, I really think that they may have not attempted that, not in those conditions.
I don't know. I mean, I just want the guy gone. I understand, like last year, I was a little bit higher on him last year because he was exceeding more than what Dan Bailey was at that particular point. I think going with him over Bailey the beginning of last season was the right decision. But not now. But, I mean, I guess it's just another case of just kicker just falling off the face of the earth. I mean, you got, like, your legendary kickers that last for, like, 17 to 20 seasons sometimes. And you got these guys. Just kind of just like they hit their stride and then all of a sudden, boop, they're just gone.
But let's be honest, what stride did he ever really hit? If he was that good, he would have been on a team before we picked him up.
I don't know. He saved us a few games last year. That has to count for something. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is.
I just can't understand why the guy's looking the way he's looking. And do we not have another kicker on the roster? I knew we had been talking about somebody a few weeks ago, but I have not seen anybody else surface in any of our games recently. So
no.
What is it? Is there nobody on the roster pushing this guy? Really?
I would get one of them veteran kickers in right now. That'll be his push.
I bring Pat McAfee out of the booth. Bring him in. At this point, he's going to I think he's calling the Thursday night games this year.
Oh, really?
I even call him. Yes.
I mean, is Eddie Murray still available? Can anybody pick up Eddie? I mean, he was consistent.
What about?
He was consistent from 40 yards out. He was consistent. You know, we get him back.
Something.
I mean, it's just really, really weird. And the Grammatica brothers still kick.
I
Is that
think Mike
crazy?
Nugent is still out there. Didn't we have him for a little bit? I think
Yeah.
he's looking terrible also, though.
It's just sad. And we got to do something about, I mean, I'm sorry we're going to bounce back to this preseason talk. We got to do something about this backup quarterback situation here. Somebody needs to start getting cut quick because I mean, this is just some shaky stuff to me.
Yeah, like you look at, who was I watching the other night? And I was like, their backup situation is not that bad. Oh, New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Their backup situation, Taysom Hill, I think I don't even think I think Teddy Bridgewater still there?
Bridgewater's number 2. Yeah, Bridgewater's number 2.
Don't be greedy, New Orleans. Just give us one of them. Like, ooh.
Yeah, do something. I mean, because it's just, I mean, but that's just the nature of the league. I mean, in reality, you're one major player getting injured from being, playoff contender all of a sudden, just being a nobody. So, I mean, I think every team in the league has that same fear. I mean, except the Washington Redskins with what they're rolling in a starting quarterback. But still, I mean.
I'll tell you what, though, speaking of them, what's his name? Dwayne Haskins, he played a lot better Thursday night.
But they're saying, are they saying Casey Keenum is going to be starting, though?
You weren't impressed with Dwayne Haskins?
Not impressed.
Did you see him the week before? Did you have a point of comparison?
Well, I mean, if you want to compare him against himself.
Yeah. I just said he played better.
Yeah.
I didn't say he was all world, but he did play a lot better than he did the first week.
Yeah, he did.
And yes, they have said that for now, Case Keenum is kind of the one they're leaning towards as the starter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was also nice to see Witten make a catch. I'm sure some people lost their minds and stuff, but I mean, it was nice seeing him back in the Cowboy jersey and doing this thing. Even though I don't expect outside of leadership of changing the world or anything the Cowboys are at. I just think it's like the leadership thing. Mm-hmm. Seeing some things, like you said in past show, seeing some things that some of the younger guys might not see to make them better. So.
Oh, don't get it twisted. He is close to that touchdown all-time, I believe, Cowboys receiving touchdown record. I think that is still held by Des Bryant. So don't get it twisted. He's not going to make that. He will not have a little bit more of an impact than you might think.
Yeah, well, he's less than 10 off, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, well, that's doable. So I'm sure they probably will involve him a little bit more than what I'm actually giving him credit for.
Well, and ultimately, if his long-term plan now is to get into coaching, if his role is more diminished, then this is a perfect audition for him. Just kind of like Sean Lee. I think we compared them to each other last week, and okay, so now you're auditioning. Sean Lee, I don't have any questions about. You could be a linebackers coach today. Same with Jason Witten. But, we're better to try out your coaching prowess than in real life situations in a game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm actually really, really curious to see how the cut process is going to work with this team this year. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be some surprises along the way. That's just my opinion. But, I mean, we'll see how it works out.
Like who? Do you have any people in mind that you think are going to be cut that you think will be surprised?
Surprised? No, not surprised, no.
I don't
Mike
think
White's definitely gone. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
it wouldn't surprise me if Sean Lee didn't make this team.
I'll bet you a meal at your favorite restaurant that will not happen.
Ooh, I don't know, Lisa. Don't take that.
There's no way they cut him.
Restructured contract Lisa, and the money, you would be surprised.
Think about that long and hard, Lisa, before you do it.
I'll pay him before.
And I love some Sean Lee, too. Sean Lee, great player, great leader, but I would not be shocked.
We always seem to have that one that is like, really?
Yeah,
at the
Dan
end of the
Bailey was that
preseason.
for me last year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We always seem to have that one where it's like, whoa, really?
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll take it back.
I don't know. I'll go ahead and tell you what restaurant I want and stuff, and I'll go ahead and send you that
No,
message.
no, I withdraw the offer.
Because these linebackers have been looking pretty good.
You know what?
I
Y'all
know
have
it's
good points on
preseason.
that. That's a
It's
really good
preseason,
point.
but they've been all over the field. They've been making plays. Like I said, that Justin Phillips has been looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I just wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I can tell you guys heard it here first on the Star Chronicles.
Yeah.
As I wink off into nothingness, off into the distance. Dallas Cowboy Hawaiian shirts, yay or nay?
Absolutely, yay.
Yay.
Yes, I will
yes.
gladly give you $70 of my money for one of those.
Yeah,
Get it
they're
for
not
49.
even girl shirts, and I
See
want
them for
one.
$49 online somewhere.
49 for where? Okay, you just shoot
I've
me that
seen them
information.
online.
Because I don't know
how
why.
reputable they are just yet. I haven't checked them out that before I give them a shout out of the air. I haven't checked them out just yet, but I did see them somewhere for $49.
Okay. Well, yeah, don't do that because I want you like all of a sudden you get an airbrush T-shirt in the mail. See, it's Hawaiian colors. See, just like the Cowboy shirt. But yeah, I mean, I liked them, and I was like wondering, am I going to be weird making this statement that I actually do like them?
Yeah.
Because I certainly want one. I know you can get them at JCPenney's, but they are $79 or $69, I believe.
Ooh.
But wait a few weeks, you know they're going to end up going on sale. You're going to cut the price. This is like a fire sale what they're doing with those things right now, and then they're going to knock the prices down. We might find them at Ross in a month. You never know.
Yeah, you can walk. You stumble across the right aisle in the right rack. You could find something at Ross.
Yeah, I mean, I got this
Shout out to
Cowboy.
Ross.
Yep, I got this training camp Cowboy fitted and stuff right now in my hand.
Yeah.
It's only $10.
Yeah.
$10 at Ross.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how we roll. I mean, I'm willing to wait that extra week and a half or month and a half to get a brand new hat. These people falling over themselves to spend almost $50 for a fitted. Not me. Not when you got children. Anyways.
Yep.
So, let's see. Let's go into. You guys want to talk about next week's game? Or you guys have anything else okay. What are your thoughts? Because I know I don't look at this as a big deal. I mean, it's great because it's dress rehearsal and stuff, but it's like a little something there because of the opponent. Would you like to elaborate that on, Lisa? Because I know that kind of like impacts your life more than what it impacts me or Starstruck.
I mean, yeah, last year it only affected me in the regular season last year, and I was there in person, and it was, and I won't live it down until we play them again in the regular season, and I still have 3 more years to go, but it seems to be that I call them the junior varsity because the Texans, their fan base is about as cuckoo as ours is most of the time. But this game for them is the equivalent of the junior varsity beating the varsity. And it irritates them when I make that comparison, but that is what it is. It's become it's a self-induced rivalry by the Texan fans.
Yes. I can't tell you, though, junior varsity beating the varsity, that was a big deal back in my day.
No. I totally get it. I get it. But what I'm saying is it's a non-factor to Cowboy fans. Now,
True.
I went to the game. I've been to the last 2 regular season games with the Texans. So the one that was here in 2014 when there was about 65% Texan fans in there. And then when I went to the game last year in Houston, it was about 50-50 in the stadium between, but I think it'll be a good look because, especially for the defense. I mean, it'll be a good chance to look at the defense because Deshaun's been playing. Duke Johnson now should be up to speed for the Texans. He'll probably play a little more. Now their offensive line, Houston's offensive line is hot garbage, but you'll be able to tell a lot, with our defense and how they can contain Deshaun, and for the offense. I don't think any of the JJ won't play. Probably he may play one series, if that. But I think it'll be a good test. It'll be good. You'll have a better gauge of where your team stands for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, because Dak's going to get some extensive time. So now you're going to really get an evaluation of, okay, you would think through 3 quarters, there's going to be some opportunity where he's going to have to put one out deep at some point. And when he does put that ball out there, who's going to get it? Is it going to be Michael Gallup? Are they going to finally hit on that long ball that people have been saying they just seem to just be missing on? And what is Tony Pollard going to look like more than just a series of touching the football?
True. I want to see what the level of his conditioning is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see where he's at condition wise. I mean, doing one series is not telling me much of anything, even though the series is great.
Mm-hmm.
But you still want to see more than just one series.
Well, and especially for him, because where he came from, he wasn't even the feature back in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
He was like in a 3-back.
Yes.
I mean, and he was like the 3rd down back. Like he wasn't even. So that's another reason why his conditioning is going to be critical, because it's all fine and great. You can look like you've got that super sudden burst in one series, but what does that look like in quarter 4 when you are the feature back? Now, obviously, they're not going to let him play 4 quarters against the Texans because of the Zeke thing still being undone. You can't afford to lose. Then now, what's your new feature back if Zeke does? So it'll be a lot, and that's a really good point to see his conditioning. I'll be interested to see how long they let him go.
To close things, any additional thoughts here on the preseason game, our upcoming game against the Texans?
Just seeing what Dak does. Tony Pollard, I don't think he's going to get. I think he's going to be rotating a lot. He's going to play deep into the game, but I think we're going to see a lot of rotation out of him. So Dak, Tony Pollard, and I think we definitely need to see something, because this is when Mayer earned his job. So will they get him fired this time?
Ooh, the irony. It's possible though. It's possible though. But anybody get a chance to watch the new Jerry Jones documentary?
I did.
Okay, why don't you share that?
I wanted to, but go right in.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the other one. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that you already know. I think it does give more of the history before he owned the Cowboys. Talked about, I mean, you've heard the story about him growing up and his dad owned a grocery store, and he used to get dressed up in his bow tie and go down there and help ladies. But he talked about his mom a lot, and how his mom would tell him, she would wink at him to show him which one of the ladies were good tippers. And I think it gives you more insight into why he became successful in the business world. Like he was one of those that people said you just knew from early on that he was going to do big things. And I really it showed, stuff that about how much money the Cowboys organization was losing when he took over. And it talked a little bit more about the partnership with when he kind of started to rock the boat a little bit with the NFL when he made the partnership with Pepsi and with Nike.
He did Did he do American Express also? It
didn't talk about that too. I don't think at all. But it was talking about and this just shows like how he did change the whole face. I mean, that's why he got in the Hall of Fame the way he did and as early as he did, because he changed the pocketbooks for all of the owners based on his kind of forward thinking with those marketing partnerships. And whenever the one game where, and I don't remember what year it was, it might've been 93, maybe 94. I don't know, but it was when he was first starting to forge that partnership with Nike, and the league was really frowning upon it, and it was really talked about, and he was kind of going rogue, and he just invited Phil. Maybe it was the Super Bowl, but he invited Phil Knight to one of the games. Phil Knight, is that his name? The head of Nike?
Yeah.
Phil, is that Phil?
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, invited him on the sidelines, and everybody was talking about what a slap in the face. Jerry was like, I don't care what you say in NFL. This is what I'm going to do. And shortly after that was when the Nike deal got done. Mm-hmm. And then it was after that point you started noticing naming rights all across the league started changing. And he just, it made me, at the end, it's all, like I said, it's all stuff you probably already knew at some level. Mm-hmm. At the very end, they were talking to his kids, and it all kept kind of reverting back to his Hall of Fame speech. Mm-hmm. And it just made him a lot more, relatable, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it was good. I mean, it's good for what it was. And, I think it was Deep Blue is who put that one on too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, I thought they only did one a year.
No, I think they're starting to do a little more just because, and there's something right now, and I haven't watched it. It's called The Process. It's like little mini clips. Is that on Instagram?
I'm not sure where I've seen it, but I saw it advertised. I thought it was on the app.
Okay, maybe that's where it is, and it's just I've seen them promoting it on Instagram, but I don't know if it's them. I don't know if they're doing that one too, but it's almost like a miniature version of Hard Knocks. And anyway, it's just those kinds of behind the scenes things are really are intriguing to me.
Yes. You guys ever want to see the Cowboys again on Hard Knocks?
No, because there's the rules that go behind that means we have been terrible.
That's the main reason why I was asking. So I'm assuming we also don't want a Dallas Cowboy player on a Madden cover either, because
we don't want to have to bring Pac-Man back either. If we get on Hard Knocks, I think we'd have to introduce him and welcome him back.
Well, there's rules.
That was so funny though. He's never played one game as a Cowboy. He's sitting there over the top eating a plate of catfish or whatever it was. Welcome to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Anyways.
But to be on Hard Knocks, you have to have finished. You can't have been in the playoffs for like 5 years. You had to have had, I don't know, there's like 3 different set of criteria. That means you're pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I mean, that's how it used to be. I'm assuming it's still the same way.
Yeah, so Giants should be on there next, is what you're saying? Perhaps?
Yes. I really thought they would be on there this year. Mm-hmm. They were actually one of the finalists, actually.
Yeah. I was laughing, but I really wasn't joking.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Raiders beat them to the punch.
Go Giants.
Well, anything else that we got for this week?
I think we're good.
Practice starts here tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, man, yeah. Missed out on that. Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, we're going to try to actually record a show, or at least a segment, over at that if me and Starstruck can get there at the same time and if Lisa decides to come out. So we definitely would like to watch some of the practice and record it and share it with you guys. Because I think guys kind of think that was kind of cool. I mean, I know I would, but who am I? And I'm actually taking a tour of the Star next Tuesday. So That'll be fun, and I'll try and share whatever I can share. So we'll see how that goes.
Have you been in there before?
Inside?
In the Star? Like to the office part?
No.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Really?
Yes. It is fancy in every turn. And my piece of advice to you is always kind of keep your head on a swivel, and you'll see a ton of people that are like the radio personalities, or if it's during the game weekend, you'll see, like I saw Joe Buck, what the year we were there, and just always pay attention, even if you're not listening to the tour guide. But there's a lot of little nuggets you can catch if you're and kind of stay towards the back of the group. If you can, because you can get away with more back there.
Okay, well, yeah, it might be, yeah. Yeah, I think the recording quality would be okay with this sitting in my pocket, but
well, there's a tour guide in the front, and then there's a helper in the back. So, but you can it's easier to wander a little bit more in the back, especially if you're, just making friends with that helper in the back.
Okay, yeah. I'll have some ninja smoke bombs with me and stuff, too, if I have to disappear. But something really, really important needs to be explained. But one thing we will do, we're going to go ahead and close the show for this week. But if anything happens this week, because our guts tell us that somebody's going to sign sometime this week, if that does happen, we will certainly address that in a quick podcast when that happens also. So with that being said, do you guys have anything you'd like to say? Would you like to say goodbye or toodaloo?
The best in Texas. Go Cowboys. Beat
Absolutely.
Texans.
Beat them.
I'll just say go Cowboys. This is still just a preseason game to me. But
do they still get a trophy for this game? Do
Yeah,
we still get the Governor's Cup? Do they still hand that out?
Is that what it is, or is it like a bronze?
It used to be the Governor's Cup back in the day when it was the Oilers in Cowboy. I don't know.
I thought it was like a silver boot or something, or is that the baseball?
Like a shoe dipped in silver, sprayed. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Like a derrick or something. An oil derrick, a miniature oil derrick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no telling. But anyways, it was a great show. And if you're a listener, you have any questions about the show, or if you want a topic addressed on the show, don't hesitate to give us an email at thestarchronicles@mail.com. But for myself, for my co-hosts, Ron and Lisa, we bid you adieu. We'll see you next week. Unless somebody signs here only on the Star Chronicles.